Hi, this is Hurley Johnson with Timeless Trees, and this little YouTube is being produced by my son-in-law Tio and my daughter Kenzie, and Tex is the executive producer over there. Tex Sola is. We're a small bonsai nursery in Rosenberg, family business that's open on Fridays and Saturdays. Today we're going to show you what we're doing with some big overgrown cuttings we got from South Texas. So this is a Micropia or tiger bark ficus. This is typical. It's typical of the size pot that it was in. Most of these are were about 4 feet tall when we got them, something like that, in a 3 or 4 gallon pot. And we're going to show you what we did with them. This one we haven't. Gail's working on this one right now, so she's just got it out and cut the roots back. This one is one that we took out a few minutes ago, and we discovered that we got a whole new set of roots at the bottom. So we basically got 2 trees here. So we actually sawed them apart because this one's actually got a lot of roots on it. We're going to make a short Shohin big tree, and then we're going to get another whole tree out of the base of this tree. So that's what they look like together. We sawed them apart very carefully. I'm going to pot this one, and Lewis will pot the other one. So I'm going to take this one and put it in a pot that we prepared with APL or Icodoma pumice and lava. In this case, since I've got a lot of raw bottom, I'm going to put in a little bit of sphagnum moss underneath it. Sphagnum is a natural root hormone that encourages it to grow. We also put in some our mix we make for roots, and I'm going to tie this one in. This is the first potting, so we're not going to get it perfect the first time. We need a little more soil underneath it. Get the height I want. So we've got some of these roots, and we're going to leave them on there this time around. These roots are the ones that were partially aerial roots. So we're going to leave them on there because we're going to let the tree grow with them for now. And we'll cut them back shorter next time around. So we're going to force them into the pot. We're going to pull our wires so we can get what we call a 4 square. Tie it down. The idea is to get the root line about an inch below our pot line, our cut line, about an inch below the cut line. So I'm just going to tie this guy in. It's always easier if you can do it with a turntable. Just what? I got these roots in here. I'm going to keep them. Going to make what they call a 4 square. Boone taught us how to do this one a long time ago. I'm going to put the last segment at the back of the tree, and I generally try to tie it in slightly below the soil line so you don't see it. But in this case, we've got these were all aerial roots, so we're going to end up with 1 or 2 of them where you can see them. So that's the first side tied in. And leave the tag lines on for now. Go to the second side. Tie it on. We learned to always pull first and then twist. Pull first and then twist. You can see I'm tucking the roots in as we go on these trees. The reason we tie them in is because we want to generate more feeder roots, not any anchor roots that trees will generate. If you have it tied in well enough, you can fool Mother Nature and she won't generate any anchor roots. She'll generate just feeder roots. So I have 3 sides tied in, and I'll back up and look at it, get the orientation the way I want it. Make sure that the pot right, pot core, both longitudinally and on the front and the sides. And then this last tie I'll do will hold it in place. Pull it, twist it, pull it.
Okay.
If I did it correctly, the tree should hardly move. And we're using Akadama, pumice, and lava in these because we want to be able to grow great roots in a quick manner. Some people call this boom mix, some people call it the West Coast mix. It's a combination of Akadama, pumice, and lava that's sifted to 1/8 to 1/4. We do our own sifting and we blend it here, so we make it a lot of times here. We'll buy the components and make it here. And the last step we do, take one more look, make sure we got it the way we want it. We chopstick it in by sticking the chopstick in. Basically what you're doing is you're not pushing the soil in, you're separating the roots gently and letting the soil drop in between them. That's what you're trying to do. So we stick it in, you don't need to go in a circle, just back and forth a little bit and you'll see the soil start dropping down as it fills in the voids. The idea is you don't want to have any voids, you want to fill them all in with soil. And you'll make a couple of trips around the tree, filling it all in. You want to pack it pretty tight so it'll hold the thing, and it'll also give a good place for the roots to grow through. The other advantage to this soil is each component has a slightly different cation exchange ratio, so they each hold different parts of the fertilizer longer. The Akadama will hold the water more. The lava and the pumice are both porous, but they're not permeable, so they'll only hold water on the surface. But the Akadama will actually hold water like a sponge. It and pine bark are the 2 things that hold, and turfus. That's why we don't use turfus here. We used to use turfus, but it's so small that the interstellar spaces, the spaces in between the particles are too small and it just stays wet too long. By having larger spaces between the particles like this, we found that it'll dry out quicker and you can control the amount of moisture in the plant all the time. Okay. So the last thing I do, I hold the tree and I tap it longitudinally and then from the side. That'll also pack the soil. You want to pack it good and then you want to water it in to wash any of the Akadama dust going through it. So it doesn't clog the drain holes at the bottom. And there's that one ready to go. Now we'll do the other one real quick. This is the bottom of the tree. We're very fortunate to get 2 trees out of this one. Most of the time we do this with cedar elms because collected cedar elms have a different set of roots down lower too. So this is the one we took off the bottom of that one. You can see we got a big flat cut at the top. We're going to just put a little cut paste on that. And we've cut it a little bit on the bottom to make a flat bottom. And we're just going to, this one's got a lot of roots in it. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to push it in. And we're just going to tie it down the same way. Yeah, we can use some of that. I'm sorry, I forgot about that. We'll use a little bit of the repotting mix we make and sell, which has got bone meal, blood meal, superphosphate, and dolomite lime in it, Texas green sand. It's just a good organic fertilizer. So we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to make a 4 square. Thank you for your patience. This is the first one of these we've done, so we're learning how to do it. Thanks to Tito's direction and editing, it'll look better than I can do it. Okay, so that's my cut-off piece. The back is going to be over here. I'm going to drop that one down and do what we call a 4 square. So I'll go from one side to the next. Try it in. It'll push it down pretty good. Pull it, twist it. Pull it, twist it. Here's the first side. Pull it over here, tuck the roots in. It works better if you'll stick your pair of pliers down between the 2 wires. Pull them and twist them. Cut the tag end off. Go to the next one. We try to keep the wiring below the soil level if at all possible. This is not really absolutely necessary on a first repotting, but on a tree we're going to put a show. We don't want to see any wire on it if we can help it. But on a first repotting, it's not so critical. This tree will probably be repotted at least 2 or 3 times before it ever goes to a show. So I'm doing the back side of it. You always do the back side last. Pulling, twisting, pulling, twisting. The tree shouldn't move. Like I said, if we do it that way, the tree creates no anchor roots, it just creates feeder roots. And we do the same thing on the top. New soil. So we'll let this tree, both of these trees probably rest for close to a year. That will be leafed out 2 weeks. This one will probably take a little bit longer. Do the same thing with the chopstick. Work it down in so the tree has no voids or air spaces. We want to get air down in the roots, but we don't want big air spaces. Big air spaces mean big dry spots in the root mass. I just use a chopstick back and forth, although we do sharpen. Levi sharpens it for me. He's got a pencil sharpener over here. He loves to sharpen chopsticks in. We do this all the time. We repot all our trees the same way. Doesn't matter if they're a $20 tree or a $2,000 tree. We basically repot them all the same way. The bigger ones we use a 4 square on. The little ones we may have to use something different. And that's about it. We'll cut anything that's sticking up above the soil. Any of the little roots that didn't get all the way down in the soil, you might as well cut them off because they're going to die. That's how we make two tropicals out of tiger bark ficus. We just need to go water these in, and we're done. So this is a Ficus Micropia that we did about 2 months ago. So this shows you how they grow out. So in about 60 days it'll come out looking like this. And we're going to prune it back a little bit. This is what you can expect in about 60 days from what we had. And thanks to Tito and Mackenzie and Baby Tex, and thanks to Lewis for fixing the pots. And that's it. That's good. Thank y'all.